Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are diving into something that sounds a bit abstract at first, but is actually a total game changer. We're talking about the fundamental concept of truth. As the source material reveals, misunderstanding the very nature of truth can literally be the hidden cause of our deepest personal miseries. Unhappiness so often stems from a gross misunderstanding of reality. So if we really want to live a good life, we have to start by looking at exactly how we define what is real.
Okay, here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with 1, the 3 umpires, then look at 2, objective truth, what is, 3, subjective truth, how you see, 4, constructed truth, what we agree, and finally, 5, aligning your truths.
Section 1, the 3 umpires. This is a metaphor for reality.
We kick things off with this really great, folksy anecdote from the text. Picture 3 baseball umpires just sitting around chatting about how they do their jobs, specifically how they call balls and strikes during a game. But here's the secret. They aren't actually just talking about baseball. They are talking about epistemology. They represent 3 fundamentally different definitions of truth, and honestly, whether you realize it or not, how you define truth shapes absolutely everything in your life, from your daily choices to your internal peace.
Moving to Section 2. Objective truth. What is? This is reality independent of you.
Let's step up to the plate with the first umpire. He's got a very rigid, grounded view of the game. His motto, I call them as they are. This perfectly represents a philosophy where reality is absolute. It's out there, it's independent of our mental processes, and it simply does not care one bit about your personal feelings, your preferences, or your beliefs.
In the text, this is called the correspondence theory of truth. Basically, it means your understanding perfectly matches what is actually happening in the physical world. It's the real world, exactly as it is, observable, measurable, and totally verifiable through hard evidence.
Think about crashing into reality. The text uses these super relatable examples. It's that sharp pain in your foot when you accidentally kick a stone or walking face first into a closed glass door that you swore was open. We've all been there. And as you might guess, when you crash into objective reality, reality wins. Every single time. It's like crashing your car into a train. You literally cannot wish a closed glass door to be open.
All right, Section 3, subjective truth, how you see. This is your personal interpretation.
Now, let's see how the second umpire handles a curveball. He's watching the exact same game, but from a totally different philosophical stance. He says, I call them as I see them. Now, this statement beautifully captures the fluid, deeply personal nature of our internal, day-to-day experiences. He's freely admitting that his call is based entirely on his own vantage point.
This is your internal truth. It's the mechanism you use to create personal meaning and understanding out of the chaotic events in your life. But remember, this truth is heavily filtered through layers and layers of unconscious beliefs and attitudes that you've been picking up since childhood.
But hey, there is a real danger here. Subjective truth is kind of like seeing the world through rose-colored glasses, or maybe dark, pessimistic ones. It's a truth that makes total sense to you, but might be completely false to someone else. You have to be incredibly careful, because if your rose-colored glasses completely distort the actual playing field, you are eventually going to strike out in life.
Which brings us to Section 4. Constructed truth. What we agree. This is society's cooperative lens. Okay, so we arrive at the third, and honestly, probably the most controversial umpire of the group. He brings a totally different dimension to the game. He says, they ain't nothing until I call them. Basically, this umpire believes reality doesn't even exist until it's decided upon and declared by an authority or by a group consensus. To him, the strike zone is entirely invented.
This is constructed truth. It functions as the cultural adhesive that binds groups together. It echoes the concepts of postmodernism, arguing that truth is just a cultural construction. It often supports relativism, which is the idea that right and wrong completely depend on the context of a society.
This covers everything from our laws and cultural traditions to the media you consume, but the text issues a massive warning here. Constructed truths are highly susceptible to manipulation. Deceptive figures, politicians, or media outlets seek to influence your behavior by simply changing what you think is true. Because if they control the constructed truth, they control the game.
Finally, Section 5, aligning your truths. How we end the inner conflict.
So, the absolutely crucial point here is understanding what happens when these 3 truths violently collide in your own mind. And trust me, they will. Picture this. You have your subjective truth, how you perceive things, crashing head-on into objective truth, what actually is. That gap, That's what we call a problem. The friction results in deep internal conflict, suffering, and maladaptive behavior. You're suffering because you desperately expect reality to be one way, and it simply isn't.
To avoid that pain, we often try to force an alignment by using egocentric thinking. We twist reality to fit our desires and protect our own fragile worldviews. We fall back on distortions, saying things like, well, it's true because I believe it, or because we believe it, because I want to believe it, because I have always believed it, or even just because it's in our selfish interest to believe it. But as we know, the universe doesn't care what you want to believe.
This misalignment causes profound suffering. Seriously, arguing with what is leads directly to misery. You literally cannot use willpower to overcome objective reality. The source material points this out so beautifully by quoting M. Scott Peck. Emotional sickness is avoiding reality at any cost, while emotional health is facing reality at any cost.
So where does that leave us? Well, the text concludes that your subjective truths serve you best when they do not contradict objective truth. The ultimate goal of a good life is actively adjusting your subjective lens, peeling back your biases, your cognitive distortions, and your ego so that your internal world works in perfect harmony with the objective facts of the universe. You don't try to change the wave, right? You learn to surf it.
Truth, ultimately, is your relationship with what is real. So I want to challenge you to evaluate your own thinking today. Are you living in objective reality, aligning yourself with what actually is, or are you just calling the game the way you desperately want to see it? Take a step back, look at those 3 umpires in your mind, and make absolutely sure the right one is making the calls. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep seeking the truth.